In this video, we'll be ranking the best French vanilla creatures in Magic. The label French vanilla refers to creatures that have no abilities other than keyword abilities, such as trample or haste. Let's dive in. Number 40. Tombstalker. When Future Sight dropped, Tombstalker immediately stood out as a terrifying French vanilla threat. Delve made it possible to slam this demon for just 2 black mana in the right deck. In Legacy, it saw considerable play in blue-black Delver and other tempo shells, where cantrips and cheap removal quickly filled up the graveyard. A 5/5 flyer for 2 or 3 mana was often enough to close out games on its own. Number 39. Venomthrope. This Simic 3-drop from the Warhammer 40k set offers flying, death touch, and hexproof on a 2/2 body. It's evasive, hard to kill, and takes out any creature it engages in combat with. It sees some play in EDH, often alongside Indominus Rex Alpha. Number 38. Kodama of the North Tree. A 5-mana 6/4 with trample and untargetability was no joke in Kamigawa Standard, giving green decks a top-end threat that laughed at removal-heavy control strategies. Worlds 2005 was won by a Selesnya deck running 3 copies of the Kodama. Number 37. Halo Hopper. Halo Hopper is 3 mana for a 3/2 with Convoke, meaning your other creatures can help cast it. That doesn't seem very impressive, but the creature performs well in Convoke decks. It saw play last year in competitive standard decks, and also shows up in Pauper. Number 36. Paladin on Vec. Once upon a time, Paladin on Vec was one of the best creatures around. A 3-mana 2/2 with first strike and protection from both red and black was a nightmare in late 90s standard, and even crept into extended. The card laughed off the likes of Lightning Bolt and Terminate, making it a sideboard all-star. Number 35. Striped Riverwinder. At 7 mana for a 5/5 with hexproof, Striped Riverwinder doesn't look impressive on its face. But the single word cycling makes all the difference. You could cycle it early, then reanimate it later. In Modern, you'd usually bring it back with Living End, while in Pauper, you'd return it with Exhume. Hexproof gave it resilience against removal, and its size made the Riverwinder a legitimate clock. Number 34. Kitchen Imp. Another Pauper menace. Kitchen Imp is a deadly weapon in Rakdos Madness decks. Being able to pitch Kitchen Imp to discard effects like Faithless Looting and still get a creature onto the battlefield is invaluable. A 2/2 flying haste for a single mana is ferocious for that format. Number 33. Putrid Goblin. Putrid Goblin may not look like much, a 2/2 with Persist for 2 mana, but it's the centerpiece of a powerful Pauper combo deck. It goes infinite when paired with First Day of Class and any sacrifice outlet, winning games out of nowhere. Number 32. Inkwell Leviathan. 8 mana for a 7/11 with Island Walk, Trample, and Shroud. In Legacy, Inkwell Leviathan occasionally shows up in Reanimator or Artifact cheat strategies, since once it's on the battlefield, very few decks can actually answer it. Shroud locks out most removal, Island Walk makes it unblockable against blue-heavy decks, and Trample punishes everyone else. Number 31. Young Wolf. Thanks to Undying, this 1-mana 1/1 comes back immediately as a 2/2, making it a 2-for-1 all by itself. That alone would make it worth considering in some decks, but in formats like Pauper and even some fringe modern strategies, Young Wolf also serves as fodder for sacrifice outlets. Number 30. Ornithopter. If there's one French vanilla creature that everyone knows, it's Ornithopter. 0 mana for a 0/2 flyer. It does very little on its own, but it's been part of countless busted strategies. From affinity in Modern to combo decks that just need cheap artifacts, Ornithopter is iconic. It enables Metalcraft, Improvise, Affinity, and Artifact synergies across the board. It doesn't hit for damage, it doesn't trade with anything, but it does the quiet, necessary work of turning on entire archetypes. Number 29. Annoyed Altasaur. Cascade is one of the most chaotic but powerful keyword abilities of all time, and Annoyed Altasaur is perhaps the best Cascade card in Pauper. In green-based ramp and mid-range decks, the Altasaur comes down as both a giant body and a free extra spell, often overwhelming the opponent with value. The keywords make it relevant in combat too. Number 28. Iridescent Angel. This 4/4 flyer has protection from all colors. Once this hits the battlefield, very few decks have a clean way to answer it. Back in the day, it was a finisher for control decks that wanted to stall the board and then win with a creature their opponent simply couldn't touch. Nowadays, it's a linchpin of reanimator strategies in pre-modern. Number 27. Phyrexian Fleshgorger. This card demonstrates what happens when French vanilla creatures get a modern facelift. A prototype card from the Brothers' War, Phyrexian Fleshgorger is a 7/5 with Menace, Lifelink, and Ward, already an intimidating stat line. But because of prototype, it can also be cast as a 3-mana 3/3 with the same keywords, giving it flexibility that most big beaters don't have. Number 26. Rograk, Son of Rogar. 0 mana for a 0/1 with First Strike, Menace, and Trample. On its face, Rograk seems like kind of a joke, but in Commander he's become a cult favorite. The formidable combination of keywords means he can be suited up with equipment or auras to swing early and often and hard. Partner only amplifies his power, letting you combine him with another commander to fill in the gaps. Number 25. Flesh Writher. One of the stranger French vanilla creatures on this list, Flesh Writher is a 3/3 for 4 with Transfigure for a cost of 1 generic and 2 black. Transfigure is a riff on Transmute, letting you sacrifice the Flesh Writher to search for any creature with mana value 4 and put it onto the battlefield. This is a very niche effect, but it has given the Flesh Writher a home in Kirik Son of Yawgmoth decks in EDH. Number 24. Impervious Great Worm. 10 mana for a 16/16 with Indestructible and Convoke. In Commander, the Great Worm is a favorite for green decks that want to overwhelm the board with absurd power and toughness. It's also seen some competitive use in Modern alongside Kragenwick Cremator. Number 23. Autochthon Worm. Another enormous worm, this time costing 15 mana. While it can be convoked, in practice, Autochthon Worm is usually played only in modern Allosaurus combo decks, where it's exiled to Nourishing Shoal, gaining you 15 life and allowing you to keep drawing cards off Grizzlebrand. Number 22. Apex Devastator. Cascade, 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 Cascade. Apex Devastator is absurd in the best way possible. At 10 mana, you get a 10/10 with 4 instances of Cascade, meaning it can vomit half your deck onto the battlefield if built around properly. Commander players immediately fell in love with it, especially in green decks that ramp quickly and want haymakers that completely change the game state. Number 21. Zetalpa, Primal Dawn. If you want to talk about keyword soup, Zetalpa is the poster child. Flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible. This white dino sees a lot of commander play, and also shines in Pioneer alongside Soulflayer. Number 20. Gladecover Scout. Sometimes simplicity can be terrifying. Gladecover Scout is just a 1/1 for 1 green with hexproof, but that single keyword made it a pillar of Modern for years, as well as a force in Pioneer. In Boggle's decks, the Scout carries auras like Rancor, Ethereal Armor, and Daybreak Coronet to create a creature that couldn't be targeted by removal, and which could kill its opponents in just a few swings. Number 19. Slippery Boggle. Slippery Boggle serves an identical role to Gladecover Scout in Boggle's decks, though it just beats it on this list because it can be cast for green or blue mana. It's the go-to threat in enchantment-based Pauper decks. Number 18. Vampire Nighthawk. Flying plus lifelink creates a steady 4-point life swing each time the Nighthawk connects, and Death Touch makes combat a nightmare. Blocking trades down, and attacking into it is no picnic either. The end result is a card that rarely gives opponents a clean, profitable line of play. While pretty much outclassed now, the Nighthawk was a major threat in its day. Number 17. Cloudfin Raptor. Starting as a 0/1 flyer for a single blue mana, Cloudfin Raptor evolves with every bigger creature you play, often turning into a 3/4 or 4/5 by the mid-game. In Simic aggro decks, it was the ideal opening play, forcing opponents to answer it early or get buried by a massive flying attacker. The Raptor saw a ton of standard play, and it still shows up fairly frequently in Dual Commander and Pioneer, alongside fringe play in Pauper. Number 16. Mirran Crusader. In the right matchup, Mirran Crusader functions like an unblockable, removal-proof double striker. Game over if unchecked. During Standard, it showed up in both main decks and sideboards for aggro strategies, blanking cards like Huntmaster of the Fells and Primeval Titan. The Crusader also puts in results in modern Humans and Hate Bears decks, as well as Legacy, Death and Taxes lists. Number 15. Gifted Aetherborn. If Vampire Nighthawk was the gold standard for keyword efficiency, Gifted Aetherborn took the same idea and streamlined it. A 2-mana 2/3 with Death Touch and Lifelink is an absurd rate, especially in black decks that want to both slow down aggressive strategies and swing life totals back in their favor. It became a staple in Standard and Pioneer mid-range shells, slotting neatly into mono-black Devotion and other grindy archetypes. Against aggro decks, it was a brick wall. Against mid-range mirrors, it provided incremental life swings that added up fast. Number 14. Phyrexian Crusader. Having first strike, protection from red and white, and infect meant that many decks simply had no way to remove Phyrexian Crusader. In Modern, it was a devastating threat against removal-heavy strategies, slipping past Lightning Bolt and Path to Exile, while threatening to end games in just a few hits. The first strike and -1/-1 counters also made combat math tricky. Even today, the Black Crusader is the bane of Boros Energy's existence. Number 13. Baneslayer Angel. A 5/5 flyer for 5 that comes loaded with flying, first strike, lifelink, and protection from both demons and dragons. First strike made Baneslayer Angel incredibly difficult to beat in combat, lifelink let you claw back life in huge chunks, and flying pushed through games in short order. For these reasons, Baneslayer dominated Standard back in 2011, helping to power the dreaded Coreblade deck. Although its relevance has faded in Pioneer, Modern, and Legacy as those formats have sped up, Baneslayer still occasionally appears out of control sideboards. Number 12. Mantis Rider. A 3/3 human monk for a cost of 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 white, with flying, vigilance, and haste. What makes this card shine is its immediate impact. Haste plus evasion means it starts hitting right away, and vigilance allows it to pull double duty on defense. Back in Standard, it was a staple in aggressive shells that wanted reliable damage output. Mantis Rider also performs well in Humans decks in Modern and Pioneer, where it has amazing synergy with creatures like Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant. In these formats, lands like Cavern of Souls and Unclaimed Territory mean its restrictive mana cost is rarely a problem. Number 11. Timeless Dragon. Timeless Dragon is a 5/5 flyer with plain cycling and Eternalize. It deliberately calls back to Eternal Dragon, but swaps its old recursion ability for Eternalize, giving you the option to bring it back later as a 4/4 zombie. Both cards offer early consistency and late game staying power, but Timeless Dragon works cleaner with modern designs. The strength of this card lies in its flexibility. Cycling it early guarantees land drops, while Eternalize ensures it has value later on. That makes it ideal as a one-of in grindy decks like Blue-White Control, or some builds of Death and Taxes. Number 10. Strangleroot Geist. The old favorite of mono-green Stompy. Strangleroot Geist is a 2/1 spirit for double green with haste and undying. Its mix of speed, resilience, and inevitability makes it one of the most efficient green 2-drops ever printed. The Geist carried green aggro strategies in Standard and still sees occasional play in Modern, though the Stompy archetype has declined a lot in recent years. Number 9. Glistener Elf. In Modern, Glistener Elf is the foundation of Infect decks, capable of killing an opponent as early as turn 2 with the right pump spells. Even though the deck has waxed and waned with bannings and metagame shifts, Glistener Elf remains one of the scariest 1-drops in Magic history. Number 8. Bloodbraid Elf. Bloodbraid Elf isn't oppressive anymore, but it was once a multi-format powerhouse, even spending some time on the Modern ban list. Its value is straightforward. You get a hasty body plus whatever spell you reveal. That's a tempo swing and card advantage rolled into one. The curve of Bloodbraid into Liliana of the Veil was infamously punishing in Jund decks, earning the elf a reputation as one of the quintessential mid-range cards. Number 7. Shardless Agent. If Bloodbraid Elf was mid-range's Cascade monster, Shardless Agent lent itself more toward combo decks. At 3 mana, this 2/2 is often used to cascade into suspend cards like Crashing Footfalls, Living End, or Restore Balance. It sees a lot of play across Modern, Legacy, and Commander. Number 6. Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Sphinx of the Steel Wind is an 8 mana 6/6 artifact creature with a laundry list of keywords: flying, first strike, vigilance, lifelink, and protection from red and green. Paying retail for this is tough, but that's not how it's usually played. For years, this card was a key reanimation target in Legacy and a common inclusion in vintage Tinker packages, alongside threats like Blightsteel Colossus. Its ability to stabilize life totals while swinging for huge chunks of damage made it essential to those strategies. Number 5. Gurmag Angler. By exiling cards from the graveyard, you can cast this 5/5 beta for as little as 1 mana, making it one of the most efficient fatties ever printed. In formats with fetch lands and cheap cantrips, filling the graveyard is trivial. That turns Angler into an early game wall that shrugs off common removal like Lightning Bolt and Fatal Push. For years it was a mainstay across Modern and Legacy until Murktide Regent stole its crown. In Modern, the Angler slotted into Death's Shadow and Hollow One, both already dumping resources into the graveyard, and in Legacy it mostly served Grixis Delver. In Pauper, Dimir Delver decks and blue-black control decks leaned on the Angler as a way to close games quickly after establishing control. It sees way less play now than it once did, but for a while this card drew comparisons to Tarmogoyf. Number 4. Akroma, Angel of Wrath. When it first appeared in Legions, Akroma, Angel of Wrath, was the definition of mythic before mythics existed. 8 mana for a 6/6, flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black, protection from red. It's a wall of keywords that still intimidates today, and she remains the only mono-white creature in the game with haste. All this made Akroma an ideal finisher for control decks in the early 2000s. Even if she's largely been power crept out of competitive play, Akroma's legend lives on in Commander and casual formats. Number 3. Street Wraith. Street Wraith is a 3/4 with Swamp Walk and cycling for 2 life. In practice, it's almost never hard cast. It's valued for the cycling ability, which functions like a free card draw. That small exchange of 2 life has fueled several top-tier combo strategies. In Modern, living end decks use the Wraith to fill the graveyard while drawing cards, making it a perfect fit. In Death's Shadow, the life payment is actively beneficial. In Legacy and Vintage, Doomsday strategies use Street Wraith to access their stacked win cons immediately. Even some Affinity and Hollow One decks have run the Wraith. Across all these examples, Street Wraith serves as glue. It smooths draws, speeds up combos, and makes already powerful decks even more consistent. With it in your starting deck, your library effectively consists of 56 cards rather than 60. Number 2. Sire of 7 Deaths. The newest entry on this list is Foundation's Sire of 7 Deaths. For 7 mana, you get a 7/7 with 7 keywords, and a ward effect that makes your opponent pay 7 life. This makes the Sire one of the best curve toppers in Eldrazi decks across Modern and Legacy, where it also synergizes nicely with Ugin's Labyrinth. Even some Pioneer decks have experimented with it, like Soulflare and Mono Green Ramp. Number 1. Monastery Swiftspear. 1 red for a 1/2 with prowess and haste. It sits alongside Goblin Guide as one of the premier red 1-drops of all time, often outshining it thanks to its ability to snowball damage. Decks from burn to prowess-based aggro have reshaped themselves around maximizing Swiftspear's output with cards like Lava Dart and Manamorphose. It's been a staple across Standard, Modern, Pioneer, and even Legacy, plus being banned in Pauper, and nothing suggests it's surrendering the crown anytime soon. That's all for today. Until next time, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and consider joining my Patreon.